Yes, everybody, welcome back to Talking Wolves. We're here for a brand new match preview on the channel. Hope you guys are keeping well. Wolves are on their travels this weekend, taking on Sheffield United away from home at Bramall Lane. We're going to be looking ahead at that game. We're going to be looking at the opposition preview as well later on in the video. Before we kick off, it's just over 2 weeks now until the Molyneux sleep out. I think it's me and Finn going to be doing it on behalf of Talking Wolves. So if you do want to contribute to our fundraising page, it would really mean a lot. I'll make sure I put a link to it at the top of the description, and we will be talking about it a little bit more next week on the podcast as well. But yeah, it's going to be a interesting game for Wolves this weekend because Sheffield United really struggling. I believe they're the only team in the Premier League right now not to have registered a victory. I think they've just got the 1 point so far. They're the lowest goal scorers. They've conceded the most goals. So you would hope that it would be quite a straightforward game for Wolves. But as you know, away games in the Premier League aren't always straightforward. You know, we slipped up against Luton. I know we went down to 10 men. But we have picked up some really good form recently. Wolves are now 5 unbeaten. Another draw last weekend against Newcastle, which could have so easily been 3 points on another day as well. But slowly but surely, we're picking up that little bit of form, picking up that momentum. And hopefully it will see us pick up 3 points the weekend as well, because another 3 points would be absolutely massive for Wolves and could see us end the weekend in the top half if other results do go our way. Of course, a big talking point ahead of this weekend is Pedro Neto. He's going to be out injured. On social media, he said he's out for a few weeks or so. Well, I think he originally said he'd be out for a couple of weeks, and then that was amended to a few weeks. So we may well see him back just after the international break. So more than likely missing this weekend's game against Sheffield United, next weekend's game at home to Spurs, which is going to be a really tough game, and then we've got the international break. So hopefully we see him back after that. But we will wait and see. So the big talking point is who is going to replace Pedro Neto. Of course, there's a lot of choices. Wolves could change their shape to suit that as well. You would assume, obviously, it would stick with the back five and the two in the middle. However, saying that, could, as a sort of out there shout, could Tommy Doyle be introduced? And you allow Hwang and Cunha to stay a little bit more central and you use your wing backs more for the width. But then I think that's a little bit, not necessarily negative, but I think you're losing an attacking option against a team that are leaking goals. So I think your most obvious option is to bring in an attacker. Now, do you do a straight swap? Probably the most popular shout would be Jean-Luc Bellegarde if he was fit. Again, he missed out last week of the squad completely because he wasn't ready yet. There have been reports and people obviously went to the open training session at Molyneux this week and Bellegarde wasn't present either. So you would unfortunately assume that he may not be ready to start this game on Saturday, or if he does, he may start and get sort of 50 to 60 minutes out of him. Other options, wide players, Pablo Sarabia. Is he going to be the player that can, this game could suit him because if Sheffield United are sitting a little bit deeper and we have a little bit of more of the ball, that may well suit him as a player, but probably not as explosive and quick enough like Neto is on the counter attack, especially away from home. And then the other choice, do you push Cunha out to the wing and reintroduce either Sasha or Fabio? Fabio hasn't really had a shout, has he, since the start of the season, but in terms of pressing and if he has the chance in front of goal and opening, I'm confident, but I think his stock at the moment is so low, and Sasha, when he's been given minutes, has put chances away and won Wolves football matches at the end of the day. So although you might have to tweak your style of play slightly, I think Sasha for me is probably the most sensible and straightforward option in there, and it will be a huge chance for him. I think he hasn't started many games in a Wolves shirt, and I think off the top of my head, this will probably be the first Wolves game in the league that he started since last season when he got injured. So for me, that front three, I mean, we'll look at my predicted lineup in a minute, but I think there are options there for Gary O'Neill to look at. But I think the most straightforward one for me is obviously bringing Sasha in up front. But Sheffield United really on poor form. Obviously, we'll look at the opposition preview in a minute, but things aren't looking great for them at the club, and this is a big chance. These are the games at Wolves. As a Wolves fan, you just go into them not really knowing what to expect from this football team. But with the form that we've picked up recently, we should have full belief that Wolves are able to get something out of this game. And fingers crossed we are able to do so. And Gary O'Neill has shown over the last few weeks, there are still some teething problems and still maybe some inexperience in the early stages of this season. But he's shown that now he knows how to set Wolves up against certain teams, and I'm really hoping this works out. Luton, Wolves started off far too slow, and Bournemouth, you could argue the same. Those two are sort of the lower to bottom end teams away from home as well. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of reaction Wolves get from this game against Sheffield United on Saturday. Let's look at my predicted lineup anyway. Of course, Jose Sarr to start in goal. Bit of a mistake for that first goal against Newcastle on Saturday, but we'll look past that. Made a couple of saves in the end, but a pretty quiet game for him last weekend anyway. Left wing back Ryan Ait-Nouri and right wing backs Nelson Semedo. Actually, the back five unchanged with Kilman, Dawson and Totti. All five of those now looking really, really settled, and it looks like it's their positions to lose really in that team at the moment. Mario Lemina definitely to keep his place in the team after his goal scoring exploits last week. I think Boubacar just about gets the nod. I do feel a little bit for João Gomez, but he will get minutes. And I think, again, great performance from Ward last week, so Boubacar will keep his place in there for me. And then the front three, like I suggested earlier, Cunha, Hwang, and then Sasha Kalajdzic as well. But if Bellegarde is fit and sharp enough, I think Jean-Rickner Bellegarde will get the nod because I think he's the most straightforward swap. But I think that's an area that Wolves do need to strengthen in January. We spoke about it a little bit over the weekend. I think Cunha is more than capable as playing as a forward. I think his ball retention and his dribbling is fantastic. I think he's got the best dribbling success rate in the league. So he's a fantastic player to have. And I think out wide he will work. And this is a big chance for Sasha, and it offers Wolves something completely different. So let's wait and see. But we'll jump into the opposition preview now. I spoke to Nick from the Sheffield United way to get the lowdown on Sheffield United season so far. So then, guys, delighted to be alongside Nick from the Sheffield United way to look ahead to this weekend's game with Sheffield United and Wolves. Nick, thank you very much for jumping on the channel. How are you, man?
Yeah, I'm not bad, mate. How are you?
Yeah, all good, thank you, all good. I go back a couple of months ago, Nick, where we were actually on a shoot together, a Sky Bet shoot, and you were not optimistic at all ahead of the Sheffield United
Can you see
season.
why now?
And I think I watched the overlap just a couple of weeks over that, and it was the exact same. They couldn't believe how pessimistic you were. But I mean, yeah, Sheffield United are really, really struggling. What's the story of the season been so far for you guys?
So we started the season very slow with possibly a couple of games that further down the line we may have got points from. So Palace at home lost 1-0, but we'd not got the squad assembled by that point. So
Yeah,
yeah, it was frustrating that we'd not got the pieces of the puzzle kind of in place. But I think the main reason why I was so negative on the overlap was because I found out about Sander Berger literally in the break that we had. So I was
yeah,
told that he was pretty much gone. And that was Iliman and Dye left to go to Marseille, and Sander Berger, both two of our best players. I won't say our two best players. Iliman was certainly our best player. But Sander, I always felt we could live without, but losing both
yeah,
of them in the same window when you start in the Premier League season, not great. But we've assembled an okay side. I think if injuries permitted, this side could keep us up, but it's so threadbare, it's so thin, and we've got the most injuries in the Premier League right now. And we've got
mm,
a couple back, but we've got all our defenders pretty much injured. Uh, right wing back, three centre backs, left wing back. So it's like I say, it's a threadbare squad. We've gone from five defenders to four defenders, which we've not played four defenders for a very very long time, probably 5 or 6 years consecutively playing four at the back.
yeah.
So that's obviously going to be some getting used to, but we've seen a little bit of improvement. We're always expected to lose against Arsenal, which is what we did. I didn't expect it to get battered like we did. But yeah, it's been an up and down season, to be honest. Obviously, there's that 8-0 in there from against Newcastle, which was a bit out of the blue, to be honest. But we've matched a lot of teams this season. We could have picked up a lot more points than what we have. Bit of bad luck, bit of excellent goalkeeping from the opposition, and us not putting his chances away, really.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, the 8-0 is obviously gonna hurt your goal difference and so on. But Obviously, you guys are the only team at the moment in the league without a win. You're the lowest scorers, the most conceded. Do you think that is an issue, the firepower? Because no disrespect, I look, especially I think it was Ollie McBurney starting last game. Is he the type of striker that is going to keep you in the Premier League?
Uh, yeah, he is. Not necessarily because of the goals that he scores,
Mm,
but everything seems to go through Ollie McBurney, as in he's the link. He's the one that it sticks to.
yeah.
Uh, he's had a few bad seasons at Bramall Lane, but he got his act together last season in a big way. Had a really, really good season. His career is blighted by injury at Sheffield United, though, like a lot of
Yeah.
the players, and that's always been a problem with McBurney because since joining Sheffield United, but I think before joining Sheffield United, he'd barely had any injuries, and all our players seem to get injuries at some point at their career at Sheffield United. So yeah, he if we kept him fit all season, I would be a lot more confident in staying up. Cameron Archer, very, very good on his day,
Mhm.
um, but he's just not got the support round him at the moment. Um, and then after that, we're feeding on scraps. Ryan Brewster, I think he can be good, but I just feel like he's had so many injuries since he's come to Sheffield United that we just want to see him have the rest of the season injury free. Don't care if he even scores any more goals this season. Just he just needs to keep fit for himself,
Mm,
because it's hamstring problem after hamstring problem, and we all know that when players start getting those hamstring problems, that's when their career kind of dips.
yeah.
So hopefully we keep him fit. I think Ryan Brewster will start up front with Cameron Archer. Obviously, Ollie McBurney being another one that's injured. Again, he's going to be out for a couple of months. So yeah, I think the biggest problem is getting the ball forward to the strikers. We don't seem to have a very cohesive sort of build up
Mm.
to the attack. I'm more than happy with the two strikers up front in Archer and Brewster if the ball is fed to them, but it's just not getting to them.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, jumping up from the Premier League, from the Championship to the Premier League is always a difficult task, and we've seen that. I mean, Luton have picked up points here and there, but the current bottom three is obviously those three teams that have come up as well. What's the sort of current stance on the manager, Nick Paul Heckingbottom? Because I remember when he got the job, and it was a little bit of surprise, but obviously, you know, he did the job and got you guys back in the Premier League. But 10 games without a win, is there much pressure on him going into this game?
Yes, massively. I think that if we lose this game, he's gone. I
Mm,
think if we draw this game, it's on a knife edge whether he goes or not. If he wins it, he certainly can. If we beat you guys on Saturday, he won't lose his job, in my opinion.
yeah,
Not a lot of managers win a game and then get sacked anyway. So it's on a knife edge. It really is. The thing is, Paul Heckingbottom got a lot of respect because after obviously Chris Wilder leaving via the back door, a lot of fans call it. Paul Heckingbottom came in and steadied the ship. We won a few games in the Premier League, and then the job was given to Slavisa Jokanovic, who got the CV, got Watford promoted, got somebody else that I can't remember promoted, Fulham promoted as
yeah.
well. Got the CV, didn't work at Sheffield United. So Paul Heckingbottom came back in, did a really, really good job taking us from near the bottom of the league to the playoffs semi-final. We could have easily gone up the season before. And then last season, even though we had loads and loads of injury problems, we had financial fair play issues, embargoes, and stuff like that. He still managed to keep us where we were. To be honest, I feel like there were a lot of underachieving teams in the Championship last season, which if Norwich or Watford would have kind of got things together, they could have mounted a challenge as well.
Mm,
So I think we got a bit lucky in that sense. But at the end of the day, he'd done a really good job in getting us promoted. I think we all worried whether he was the man to lead us forward. But yeah, it would be tough to get rid of a man that got you promoted to the Premier League. Again, not many clubs do that. They normally stick with the man that got them there and see how they fare because he's never been a Premier League manager other than with us when he was caretaker manager for a few months. So yeah, he's I don't blame him completely for this season. There's been a lot of other mitigating factors,
yeah.
but he's the man that leads them out. He's the man that takes training all week. He's the man that is in the dressing room with them. So he should really be the one that takes the brunt of it if the results don't fall our way.
Yeah, and it's been like a difficult start. What are the expectations for the fans just to get out of trouble and try? Well, uh, I'm sure you'll want the belief that you can stay in the Premier League, but what's the mood like? Is it negative at the moment with the fan base?
Very low, very, very
Yeah.
low, and it's apathy that's setting in at the moment. So it's kind of like it was the second season in the Premier League under Chris Wilder a few years ago where we were losing every single week, and it's just so hard to enjoy football, any sorts of football, whether that's
Mm,
watching Match of the Day, whether that's watching Super Sunday, Monday Night Football. You've probably been there before with
mm.
Wolves that you're losing every week and you're like, I don't want to watch Man United against Man City. It's just
No.
got no interest in football because you're so down with your own team and how they're playing. So yeah, we are down as a fan base. They have shown signs of turning it around, but every time they show signs of turning it around, we'll concede a goal from outside the box from, for instance, Dallo from Man United,
Yeah.
like just curling one in top corner. It's like what, like against Man City where Rodri just hits a shot and it just lands in top corner.
Mm.
99% of those are going in the stands. So like, there's just been a lot of things that have gone kind of against us this season. Obviously, it's a step up from the Championship.
Yeah.
So a lot of these things don't happen in the Championship, but we're not. We're in the Premier League. Yeah, fans are very much down, but I think one win could change it completely. Change the players on the field, change the fans' perspective going into games. So yeah, it's very, very much negative. But like I say, one win could just do wonders for this team.
Yeah, I think a lot of Wolves fans are going into this game with a little bit of concern because I think games like this historically for Wolves have proved to be a little bit of a banana skin, and you guys obviously desperate to get a win as well, and that can work both ways really. But what has gone wrong? Do you think, Nick? What is the weak area for Sheffield United tactically that the Wolves could potentially exploit on Saturday?
Well, before even a lot of these injuries set in to our defenders, we were really struggling at the back, and I thought that was
Mm,
going to be our strongest area. Conceding lots and lots of goals from corners, from free kicks, just high balls into the box that I thought our three centre backs would be able to defend against, and we're just
mm,
conceding lots and lots of those goals, lots of crosses into the box that we can't deal with. And I'll be honest with you, and I might as well say it because I'm sure all the Wolves coaching staff will have done their research against Arsenal. Every single time a ball came into the box, be it a corner or a free kick, the ball was bouncing in the box before anyone's touching it. And it's
mm.
like that should never happen in football. You should be
No.
get somebody should be getting a head on that ball. And it's like I played centre back when I played football, and like when that's in your position, you're like that should not happen. Like a
No.
goalkeeper would be like, oh, he should be saving that. As a centre back, you stood there thinking, why are we not getting that first head on the ball? So that's a massively weak point for us. Again, I think that the transition of the midfield to the attack is a weak point. I think that at times this season we've looked lackluster, and our motto is like something like outrun, outfight, outplay, or something like some rubbish like
Mhm.
that. And that's how it used to be under Chris Wilder. It's not that anymore. We are some games we're doing it, some games we're not. Like the Man United game in the first half, we were fantastic. And then to go from that to just letting Arsenal walk all over us and not even put up a fight, it's either if we're going to lose 5-0, I'd expect to have at least a few shots or something like that. You kind of trade that to kind of go for it yourselves. But
Yeah.
if we're just defending for the whole game, I'm not expecting a 5-0 defeat. I'm expecting a 1-0 or a 2-0 defeat. So yeah, there's worries in the defense, the fact that we're conceding so many goals from crosses, but also there's not a lot. Like I said earlier, I think that the firepower is not that much of a problem. It's just getting it to him.
Mm. That sounds like a Neil Warnock motto. That does. That's something Neil Warnock would
Yeah,
say back in the day. Get him in,
Chris
mate. I
Wilder,
reckon.
Neil Warnock,
If
very very
Heckingbottom
similar
goes, getting
managers.
it. Warnock's. I think he's out of work at the moment. So that's interesting because obviously Neto picked up an injury for us, and there's expectation that Kalajdzic, who's a big 6'7" striker, could start on Saturday. So with you saying that the defenders aren't always first to the ball, it could be interesting, sort of whipping the ball into the area for him as well. But there's any other Wolves players, Nick, that you've seen? I'm not sure if you've seen a lot of Wolves this season. Any Wolves players that worry you ahead of Saturday? Obviously, like I said, Neto's out, so he won't be playing. But anybody else in our squad at the moment?
Uh, like I said, to be honest, mate, I've not watched much of Match of the Day this season for obvious reasons, and not a lot of games. I watched you against Man United earlier in the season, where you
Yeah,
should have picked up points in that game. I thought you were fantastic, and I think that's where a lot of fans of other clubs switched their mindset of Wolves. It were like, oh, Wolves will definitely be in the bottom five, and then after seeing that,
yeah,
it were like, whoa, Wolves are a
yeah.
lot better than what we thought. But um, what's the striker's name?
Huang, Cunha,
Yes. I
yeah,
did
Huang.
not wanna attempt that and get it wrong because that would have got me in some hot water. Uh, the turn for his goal, at the weekend was
oh, against Newcastle.
absolutely sublime. Just watching that could watch that over and over and over and over again, and obviously he scored some goals this season, so obviously he's gonna be one to watch. Neto, like I said, Neto would have been my one, and I don't wanna
Yeah,
be that guy, but when I saw that he was injured, I was like, "That's bad,"
yeah,
but
yeah.
for us, it's pretty good
Yeah. No, it'll
because
be
he's a
it'll be
fantastic
like,
player.
oh, I'm intrigued to see how Wolves will play and what how Wolves will line up. Possibly minutes of Tommy Doyle, who's really impressed over the last couple of weeks as well. Who had a little bit of time at Brown Lane last season as well. So it'll be interesting to see how he does as well. But Nick, if I had to trouble you for a score prediction, maybe one with your head and one with your heart for for this one for Saturday. What you thinking?
I'll be honest, I think I think Hart is going 2-1. It's to us, it's gonna be if we're gonna win this game, it's gonna be a scrappy game.
Yeah,
We're gonna win it by 1 goal if we are gonna win it. Uh, I actually think Head that this is a draw. And that because I'm thinking as a Sheffield United fan, I'm thinking that I either want Paul Heckingbottom to get the confidence, the
yeah,
confidence of the owner, or he goes. I hate this middle ground where you're not sure what's going on and you're going in, week
yeah.
out, thinking, are they going to play well? Are they not? I'm worried. So I feel like this is going to be a 0-0 draw or a 1-0 draw, and we're still going to be none the
None the
wiser
wiser.
what's going to happen, what's going to keep going. But yeah, it could go anywhere. Obviously, like football can, it could go
Yeah.
anywhere. And if we lose this game, I'm not hoping for Heckingbottom to lose his job because I really like him. I think he's done a really good job. But at the same time, maybe if we do lose this game, then something happens at the club and we have a bit of a change.
It'll be interesting. Certainly interesting if you guys do drop points or lose on Saturday, who Sheffield United look to get in if that's the case. Nick, before we finish off, please let everyone know where they can find you and your content.
Yep. I run a Sheffield United YouTube channel, obviously called the Sheffield United Way. It is Sheffield United Way on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, everywhere you go. It's Chef United Way. I am in marketing after all, so yeah. Of course, all the ads have got to be exactly the same.
No, brilliant. Man, I appreciate you jumping on the channel. And apart from Saturday, best of luck for the rest of the season, mate. And I'll catch you soon.
Cheers, Dave. Thanks a lot.
So big thanks to Nick. I'll make sure I leave a link to the Sheffield United Way channel in the description down below. Do let me know your thoughts and score predictions, guys. I genuinely think this one could be a 2 on Wolves. I know I predict that every week, but I think Wolves obviously away from home as well. You can concede goals, but Wolves are starting to find their shooting boots. A lot of pressure on some of the forward players, obviously with the absence of Pedro Neto. But let's wait and see. This is a big chance. Gary O'Neill could surprise us and could surprise Sheffield United with the lineup. But hopefully in the next day or so, we'll find out more what he's thinking and see who's available ahead of this game at Bramwell Lane. As always, guys, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below ahead of this game. And please do check out our Just Giving page for the Wolves Foundation Molyneux Sleep Out. Until then, guys, enjoy the rest of your weekend. And I'll catch you all very, very soon.